Yeah, my beats, they are hard.
Hey, welcome to another live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. It's me, Bryan Fulford. Joining me tonight, David L. Rhodes. Dave filling in for AD Drew, who's somewhere on assignment. Yeah, no, for real. Drew's a busy guy these days. But Dave, what's up tonight?
What's going on, man? Well, we're all busy, right? But it's good. It's good. I appreciate the invite to try to co-host this show for you guys tonight. So this should be a fun one.
Hey, no problem. No problem. Hold on. I just realized there you go. I was turned around backwards there. I was like, why is that logo backwards? Dave, I'm just getting myself all together here. Dave, on a day like today, they usually say a tradition like no other. And I don't know if they're talking about a Rory collapse, or for us, we're talking about the HBCU coaching carousel that goes on. I think all apply on a day like today.
I have my thoughts on that quote. I was gonna use the joke for HBCU Nightly tonight, but that quote is so.
I don't hold on to it.
that quote is so not for us. That quote is so not for us, man. Every time I hear it, it's just the most hilarious thing because I'm always fascinated about the Masters off the mystique of it all, right? Like I guess everything's still cheap when you go there. They just want to just show their money, So it just ain't for us.
Yeah, when Tiger was doing his thing, I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that wanted to go.
One of my line brothers used to volunteer at it every year when he lived in Georgia.
Wow. Okay.
It is. Yeah. Like that's like the easiest way to get in. Like that's like volunteer. Outside of trying to get a ticket because that's a wait list for years from what I understand.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, I just, it's one of those things that Sunday golf tournaments around this time of the year have always, it really always coincides right after the Final Four. That is the one thing I do know and have known for 40 years of paying attention to college basketball. Well, the Sunday next weekend, with the first weekend without basketball, guess what? You got the Masters. I don't really know what's going on, but on Sunday, it's kind of interesting. The birds chirping and the music they would play. I actually sleep to that music. I use that like as my noise to go to sleep to. So it is kind of peaceful, and it does help you go to sleep. And then you wake up around 5 o'clock, and you're like, oh, like right now, like, oh, well, the Masters are getting interesting. And oh my God, is it getting interesting? And then I found that you can gamble on golf, Dave. And then my night just blew, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, listen, man, and shameless plug, for another podcast that I do, I actually had to talk about golf last week when I had to do the sponsorship commercial.
That is
the fantasy sports. So
I love putting. So I mean, I can putt all day. I'm like me swinging. I just have never been able to.
The first time I went on a golf course, I was on a work trip, and the guy that I was working with loves the golf, and he had a tee time after the shift. So after the shift ended, we went to the tee time, and I realized real fast that I was approaching this golf thing the absolute wrong way. Then I also realized maybe this is just it's not my calling. That's okay.
Well, the School of Business and Industry at FAMU, they encourage us and they talk.
Oh yeah, it's like Hampton was the same way. I noticed that when we were touring Hampton for my daughter, that it's required. Like there was certain sports you had to learn how to do.
they didn't give us that. There wasn't a golf course. There wasn't an opportunity. And now, unless there was, and I just didn't pay attention to enroll in that class, but that, like an elective, like that should have been an elective.
Like A&T had golf. They had badminton. I took badminton while I was at A&T. That was the only gym that was left. 8 a.m. badminton in my freshman year.
I don't recall, look, I kind of knew how to do it through tennis, my little tennis excursions growing up.
And my daughter, and it's funny, my daughter just discovered badminton. She loves playing badminton. I'm like,
badminton is legit.
Yeah, they ain't out here giving athletic scholarships on badminton, unfortunately. So,
but it is an Olympic sport though, is it not?
It is an Olympic sport. Yeah.
We
just didn't put it on our list of things to be dominant in yet. But yes, it is an Olympic sport.
Gotcha. While we got you, Dave, speaking of your daughter, I just saw the big announcement on X. Go ahead and would you like to share that info, that news?
Yeah, man, because my daughter is at her age range right now was much smarter than me. So she had a lot of opportunities and she got some good scholarship money across the board. But she decided to go to Hofstra. She's going to join the Zarb School of Business that they have. They're a really good business school. And she's going to, she got into the honors program there and they gave her a decent financial aid package. So I can't complain to them. I still got to pay some money out of pocket. But what I learned through this adventure is if you're successful, they know that you're successful and they're going to make sure to get some money out of you, no matter how smart the child is. I'm thinking, she might got a shot at a full ride, and she got a decent chunk though, so I can't complain. But she made a pretty good decision. She had other options. Right call right here.
Congratulations. And how upset or disappointed or sad, I'm sure you weren't disappointed, but how much encouraging was there to get her to go to North Carolina A&T?
She applied. She got deferred to A&T, man. She got deferred. Okay. And I think it comes down to the out-of-state cap. The out-of-state cap did her in. Okay. And I warned her. I said, if you don't get the application in first day, it's gonna be tough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. And I knew that. And I knew that going in. Like that's just the reality of it. Because it wasn't an issue that she didn't have the grades.
Okay.
In that case, they would have rejected you. Because the average GPA they take for out of state kids is like a 4.1. Just to even look at you. So it's tough.
So many things have changed.
I couldn't get an A&T now. I couldn't get an A&T now. With the grades I had, I couldn't get an A&T now.
Yeah. No, me neither. Although I did look at, and the A&T was one of the ones I did look at. I have a cousin who went to A&T.
I got a cousin. I got a niece right now that's at T. So like I got family there. That ain't gonna be the issue, But she made the attempt. She got deferred. Then she got waitlisted. And I think the moment she got waitlisted, when she got deferred, I said, "Well, you ain't getting no scholarship money here, buddy." Then when she got waitlisted, I was like, "Well, they offered her to come in the spring, and she wasn't trying to do that." Some kids are willing to wait, but she wasn't trying to do that. When she had like 10 other schools that wanted her to get her scholarship money, so she was like, "I'm gonna pick one of these."
I got you. Well, we say hello to everybody coming in and joining us early. Southbound 3000 checking in. Mary 305, thanks for being a JBN subscriber. My guy Keith, Things Up Podcast, checking in. Jeff Roberts, shouting out at Aggie Pride. Tamara T, also checking in, another JBN subscriber. We say hello to everybody. And anybody who might be watching us on X and Instagram Live, we say hello to you. Of course, all the people watching on Facebook, Instagram. Black College Sports Network, could be watching us on YouTube, Jericho Broadcast Networks as well. So many places that we are, and so we appreciate everybody jumping in, everybody on X. You can leave comments, and got questions during the course of the show, any or commentary. We always love it. And so on and so forth. So we got a lot to talk about. It is a busy spring, of course, in terms of games and action going on. Yeah, you got baseball and softball happening on the diamonds. But really what the hot topic and the hot news going on, no doubt, is the coaching carousels that are going on in HBCU sports. And then, of course, we had spring ball. We had probably, I think, one of the most active Saturdays of spring football that happened. So we, I don't know how much we'll get into it other than a mention or two, but it's definitely quite a few schools out of the SWAC. Got a few schools, of course, A&T. They've had their spring game. And so we'll kind of talk maybe about how that has changed a little bit from previous years. I know I was at Florida A&M's spring game the other day. So that was good. I know there's some Division II schools that had their spring games as well. And I'm sure between those who didn't have theirs this past Saturday, everybody else will probably have theirs next weekend because guess what comes on Wednesday, Dave? The good old football transfer portal opens. So y'all thought basketball was something. Just wait to see what happens on Wednesday.
We'll get into the situation of some of these spring games. I just know A&T will be attacking that portal viciously.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about anybody who's having a spring game after or next weekend, because you might be behind the 8 ball a little bit, in terms of your evaluation. I mean, there might be some schools that get out ahead in front of you, because I know there's some schools that they may have 90 some odd kids, and with that roster limit coming, and with what's coming, you already know you have certain numbers of freshmen that are coming. Some of these guys on rosters are going to be added. They're going to be told that we're not going to have a roster spot for you. Sorry. I mean, that's the reality. I mean, guys who maybe didn't work as hard or whatever reason, they're going to be encouraged. I mean, or just flat out told. I don't even know how that works, but you're just going to have those real conversations with young men and say, we're not going to have a spot for you. So that's just how it goes. So Drew is in the chat. He's on the road watching. So, hey, Drew, be safe out there.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about A&T got that fine. Yeah, A&T did get fined over a couple $1 million when they went over to out-of-state cap a few years ago.
Oh, okay. That's what he was talking about. Okay. Lennon Blow, we say hello to you. Norfolk State Spartans in the house. That's Norfolk State spring games coming up, next weekend, I think. That should be, hopefully that'll be well attended by you all out there. Of course, Jackson State, we say up to hello to Israel.
And a good performance with FAMU, man. Y'all can get along.
What's that? What do you mean?
Y'all, I guess both of the bands performed with, I think it was Travis Scott at Coachella.
Look,
man, y'all can get along when y'all want to get along.
Here's what I'm trying to do. So I'm totally out the loop. I don't want to start any controversies. But this is all, this is what my timeline shows me, right? My timeline shows me the performance. And then I look, exactly. Israel rolled his eyes. Look, okay, so this is all I know. So apparently there was a contest, right? You do aware there was a contest.
Yes.
And apparently
there's something about these contests with you guys, man.
Apparently the 100 won the contest, but apparently both bands are performing. And I swear, I listened to the arrangement. I swear that was the 100's arrangement, which was a little different than the Sonic Boom's arrangement. Very loud. It was very loud. But
well,
anyway,
it's always loud with the boom. That's why they call it the boom.
Right.
Shout out to the boom, though. All jokes aside. Shout out to the boom.
Right. All jokes aside. But but anyway, I don't get what happened, but I could tell that. Anyway, I should I'll let y'all figure it out. But all
I'm gonna say is this: I'm happy that the Blue and Gold March Machine decided to opt out. I don't even think they even did a number.
There you go. That
they
might
do a number. I mean, when you get to perform with Big Sean for an entire Amazon performance, you ain't gotta do Coachella.
Look, if y'all were gonna do all that, then yeah.
Apparently, now that they use FAMU's arrangement.
yeah, exactly. Y'all used our man. Let me stop.
No, but it's good that both of y'all, made it. I mean, y'all got the arrangement.
Think about this. What is good though, what I do like, all jokes aside, I do love the fact that I guess we could say over the last 5 years, we've seen an influx of band performance into popular mainstream events, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen several bands performing at whether it be halftime shows of major events, at concerts. So
WrestleMania, WWE pay-per-views,
exactly.
like that. that is excellent because that's exposure to the institution as well. Because they do get that shout out during those events.
It is. And so all jokes aside, it's all positive, and it just underscores maybe a topic for another day. And Dave, you guys might have it in the spaces on the shows that you guys do on HBCU Nightly or otherwise. But it brings to mind that greater sense of what should be the university's role in taking care of the band. I mean, because the band is the largest. I mean, it is larger than your football program.
It's typically the largest student organization on the campus.
Yes, and in essence, it also probably has the largest alumni group, maybe even more so than your sororities, fraternities, sports teams, right? So, but we often hear about how should it be taken care of, and I think that has been a challenge and a big question that to this, I would love to kind of get to a point of, and it is a bigger question and topic. I would love to be able to do that study or hear that study of who is actually taking care of their band and how are universities taking care of their band.
So it's like a running joke, because like a few years back when A&T was in the Big South Championship against Gardner Webb, and the band pretty much said they weren't coming. And I think that was like the first time that alumni realized that, hey, it ain't on the athletics guys. They have their own budget. They have to make their own decisions. They got to raise their own money. They got to get their own donations from alumni groups and things of that sort. So you kind of can't be mad at them if they decide, all right, we're not going to go to this.
Yeah.
Because they'll be at all the home games.
Mm-hmm.
They'll hit a couple away games. They still perform. They still have more dates than pretty much most bands in HBCUs, truth be told. But they make decisions to go in different places. Like if there's an away game in Richmond, they're probably going to, there's like a battle of the band somewhere, they're probably going to opt for that over going to the away game. Those are the type of decisions that you decide. So it all depends. I mean, I think we always love our band, but don't understand what it takes. Like the Sonic Boom, Human Jukebox, Marching 100, Marching 101, Boom Go Marching Machine, those guys put in, the Spartan, the Legion, those guys put in a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot of work. Like I learned recently that the BGMM has athletic trainers. That's the type of investment that you have to put to that group, because I always joke that Blue and Gold Marching Machine is like the miracle, because they're as good as they are, considering what they have to do and some of the resources that they need.
Yes.
It's a miracle they remain as good as they are.
Yeah.
Band of the year and all.
Yeah. It is a major entity that I think it unfairly does get associated with athletics, but they are not athletics. And it is its own thing, and it does need its own, it needs its own support. Yep. So that's my thoughts there. But it is a great conversation I'd love to have at a later time. All right. So the news of the coaching carousel, and I honestly, when I tweeted out the picture on Friday morning of the musical chairs going on in the swag, it was the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about, because last week, we had the news of Dante Jackson leaving Grambling State to go to Alabama A&M, right? And it kind of it shook up. I think it shook up. It was the first of what would be a first domino, I think. And it really shook people up, because it was really surprising, I think, from the standpoint of, and only from the standpoint of, he had just signed an extension, right? And when you knew what he was being paid, you were like, oh, I don't know why, but then you started connecting dots, and you're like, oh, well, the AD, Dr. Bryant, who was at Alabama A&M, hired him previously at Grambling, hired him at Stillman. I guess, if you can match it, and you got money from the president of Alabama A&M to match that salary, I'm going to make it happen. Well, what did that do? The next domino, or the next chair, was Grambling State had an opening. And I thought, Dave, Grambling State was very strategic and smart when they posted what the salary was for the job. That was strategic and smart, because we know a lot of these coaches are not making probably market value, or even, if for example, the highest paid coach in the SWAC is making probably half of what the highest paid coach is in the MEAC.
Really?
Last time I checked, Robert Jones at Norfolk State is making about $420 something.
Yeah, that tracks. He deserves every dime too, by the way.
Going into last week's conversations, when I was first looking up as to why would Dante Jackson leave, I was looking at Texas Southern. Johnny Jones was making with bonuses up to about $275, maybe $280 with bonuses. But the recent contract that Jackson had signed, an extension at Grambling with bonuses, took him over $3. I was like, whoa. And that was still behind at least 2 coaches in the MEAC, Norfolk State and Morgan State. Morgan State, that one blew my mind. That leads
but that's the thing. So when the whole speculation came about Don Thornton interviewing them, I'm like, Morgan pays their coaches. They'll do one thing, but they pay their coaches.
Right.
But that could be a factor in the area too. Like if you look at how much our coach, like right now, our basketball coach making more than Sean Gibbs. I believe Coach Ross is making like almost $380 a year.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Like 375, something like that. It's close to 380.
That is rare that the basketball coach. I mean, there aren't very many schools where the basketball coach makes more money than the football coach.
Well, I think it's more of a matter of like, Ross has been there. He's going into his 3rd season, right? So when he started, he wasn't making 380. But over time, you're going to get a raise every year. And Sean Gibbs just got there.
You said that Ross's 3rd year?
This is he's about heading to his 3rd season.
And wait a minute, this is which coach? Which coach again? Which basketball coach?
A&T's.
Men, women?
Men. No, not the women.
Okay, that's what I thought. So how many championships has he brought in?
None.
Okay. And I'm almost just
don't get me started, please.
I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm not gonna do that to you.
I literally had a whole conversation with Scotty about how like he like shout out to Scotty too. He doesn't like the fact that Gibbs is making what he's making. I said, I'm more irritated about what the basketball coach is making than what Gibbs is making.
Look.
But it boils down to the conference that they're in, right? Like, and it's funny because when we talk about the call to action that we had at A&T, we'll get to that later in the show.
Yeah.
But one thing that the AD pulled up was the coaching salaries versus the head coaching salaries versus the head coaching salaries in the CAA.
Yeah.
And we pay about $800,000 less than the average CAA coach between all the coaches, right? So we got to be comparable to the conference that we're in. That's what I was trying to explain to Scotty too about Gibbs. We got to be comfortable with what the conference is paying, and that's the going rate. I think at one point there was somebody in the CAA that was paying their coach $1 million for basketball. So we ain't gonna ever do that.
But there were scales to that because also in order to be competitive, you have to look at the overall athletic budgets.
Yep.
And that is where the big gap ends up becoming. So with the move for Grambling State, again, strategic by putting out there the 230. You knew going in that, they're putting out there 230. Wow, that's already impressive. And with just the opening that was there, it left the door open. And for Florida A&M, it was just bad timing, but also, circumstances said that you can't keep them. You can't deny a man who is wanted by one school and the other school was, even though now it's gotten better, but originally, Dave, you all didn't want me from the jump. And so as much as I keep telling people Patrick Crary wanted to be at FEM, you wanted to make it work. It's hard when you're getting the full court press of being wanted. Wanted by the AD, wanted by the president, wanted by other key stakeholders at Grambling. And so I got the news, we all got the news that Patrick Crary II was making the jump from Florida A&M to Grambling State. And it was a bump in pay. It was a bump in security. Almost twice. Well, obviously, when you start with a 1-year contract, everything is 3 times as much. But he's starting off with a 4 to 5 year deal, and good sponsorship money through the Adidas sponsorship. So there's incentives that come with that. It's just overall for him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Coach Crary. Because I really enjoyed talking to him, getting to know him, watching him do what he did, overachieving in the eyes of some, although I knew he would be able to have a good year. And so Grambling, and I think also, Dave, what's real interesting is I think Grambling may have thought they were doing some things right as related to Jackson, but maybe not. And they got shown that, oh, there's still more that you could be doing. Mm-hmm. And I think it set up the perfect opportunity for Crary to come in and get things that maybe they realized they should have given Dante Jackson. Like if you had given Dante Jackson maybe some of the things that you are now wanting to give Crary, you might not have lost Dante Jackson. Yep. But you get a good guy. And the last thing I'll say on this, Dave, it is by no coincidence that Jackson and Crary, very, very close relationship with one another. So Crary knew everything about the Grambling position before he accepted it.
Oh yeah.
And so he knew everything going in, knew all the power players, and he just had to see if they were really all in on what he wanted to do. And after losing Jackson, they were probably like, yeah, we want to do it. Let's do what we're kind of hemming and hawing about, and let's do it. And so Crary becomes the new head coach at Grambling, and it leaves an opening now at Florida A&M.
So here's the thing, man, and the whole situation that happened with Crary at FAMU is I got annoyed by it from the beginning because I felt like that was a pretty good hire considering what you were paying him, and I thought that was a steal for you guys, and he probably was worth more considering. And then the fact that they didn't let that, and the fact that bot didn't do that 3-year deal, I'm like, if he's successful, there's no way he's coming back after this year. There's going to be an opening that shows up, and he's going to take it, and I don't blame him one bit. And as FAMU alums, you shouldn't be shocked. You should be yelling at your bot. Like it's simple for me. Like I think that he gave you guys more wins than since 2008.
Yes.
In a season.
Yeah.
He got your first SWAC tournament win. Nobody's going to be able to take that away from him, no matter how you feel about how things went, how it went down.
First overall, men or women. That's the first one of any program.
He's in the history books. It's going to be like the ultimate Jeopardy question in 20 years. Like it's set in stone. And so I know some alums probably shouldn't be shocked about what happened because I always felt like when they, as the season got better, then they were like, all right, we'll go ahead and ratify these 2 years. But I'm like, if you're gonna really ratify, you should up that ante a little bit because now you know that he can coach. You know he can compete in this league. Y'all gave him, like, your board of trustees gave that doubt, and he showed you that he could, and he was out here working without being under contract, recruiting, and built the team to get you more wins that you've seen since 2008.
Yeah, like
you knew he was gone, and I'm pretty sure alums knew too. I think most did. Like I said, I was like, if he's successful, he's gone after 1 year, and I was hoping and praying that A&T would go get him. So much for that.
Yeah. So I mean, now so it really so last week, we were talking about Alabama A&M, and then all of a sudden that opens up to the Grambling position, and you still got Alcorn opening. So Alcorn now, well, at least technically, until it becomes official, Alcorn is still open. But we've learned that position potentially is predicted to be filled by a former Florida State assistant, Jake Morton. The long arms of Leonard Hamilton, I'll tell you, boy. But anyway, so that's supposed to be the Alcorn State position. even though they even had their difficulties. The word was that the associate head coach of Jackson State, I believe Trey Johnson was his name, that he was supposed to be in the running or highly considered for that position, but that kind of fell apart at maybe the 11th hour. Whatever negotiations were going on fell apart, and he opted to stay at Jackson State. And so they pivoted and went to their number 2 choice. And so now it leaves FAMU being the only SWAC team that's looking for a position. Of course, it is what it is right now.
So with regards to FAMU, like, and I'm just going to ask you this off the cuff, right? So what is the expectation at this point? Do you think AD Suggs is going to be able to have a candidate and not get any interference from the bot? I think that's the key for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do think because right now the one thing that you're not hearing, which is good, you're not hearing this talk about a search committee or anything like that. Thank you. We don't need a search committee. We don't. We did. I don't think there was even a search committee when AD Sykes had hired Crary, and I don't think there was a committee when Bridget Gordon was hired, the women's coach. She made both of those hires. She had to have a search committee for the football thing because that thing went left. She tried to do that on her own, and that just, but anyway, I don't know. Maybe I can't recall. She did have a search committee with the basketball? I don't know, but anyway, I think Suggs has the opportunity here to kind of own this one, and yes, I'm told that there's going to be I believe there's a board meeting coming up in the middle of this week. So there is a possibility that a move is in the works, and it's just a matter of, can all the T's be crossed, the I's dotted? Can you get the confirmation and then move forward? Now, I will tell you this. I think our AD, this AD, is savvy enough to know that she's going to keep certain people in the loop in this process, which I think any good AD would, because you know that you have to take that contract in front of them. And so before, and I think that was the mistake previously, is that not making sure that the people who have to approve the contract are going to be okay with the contract, right? And so even if there's an increase, which
it's going to have to be an increase. Like I think, and this is just my opinion, and I don't know what the board's going to do, obviously, right? But I think after what just happened with Crary, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more for this one, just to show good faith, not just to that individual, but to the entire landscape.
I think that will happen.
Yeah,
there will be an increase significantly. I would be shocked if it's less than 2.
Yeah,
I'll be shocked. The previous contracts were all less than 2. I don't think you can get this one across, and I don't think you'll get that standard 3-year thing. I think what is it within the, you were talking about what conference standards are, right? Within the SWAC, you see 4 and 5-year deals in the SWAC.
A standard.
Standard.
That is standard, not just, like we're giving 5-6-year deals in the CAA. Like that's standard, because you got to let them get a full recruiting class. And even though nowadays that's a tall task in itself. But
Johnny, is your coach available? I'm just asking. I know some of y'all
gonna have to pay a lot for him. I don't know if I'm keeping it up with you, man. He's like the second highest paid coach in that conference. You're gonna be paying a lot for him.
Exactly.
I think he makes more than the chancellor. So I think
it'd be worth it though. But
it'd probably be worth it. But you're gonna have to pay y'all gonna have to pay a pretty penny for him.
Yeah.
And that's his alma mater too. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot to get that man out of the school down the road.
Right. But yeah, no, the industry standard, and that's the one thing that I think AD Suggs at Florida A&M understands. And I think you have to be able to communicate that to your board and letting them know that, hey, within our conference, as evidence recently, that 4 or 5 years is what is happening. And you can put little clauses, you can put clauses in it, whether it's buyout clauses, options, things of that nature. You can do those things to protect yourself. I mean, the old reassignment clause could be put in there. If you really need to move somebody if you realize after 2 years it ain't gonna work, well, we need to reassign somebody.
Yeah. So like the thing, no, it's funny you say that. So like when A&T decided to move on from Coach Washington, there was a clause in that contract where you only had to pay a year, and that was that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we hired Vincent Brown, that clause was gone. So you have to pay the whole contract if you decide to let him go.
He's got a good lawyer. He's got
a heck of a lawyer.
Yeah, he got a good lawyer that realized we.
So all you rattlers in the chat, just keep that in mind.
Oh yeah. All right, let's take a quick break because coming back, we've got other coaching carousel news to talk about. Not only, and that was just a brief snippet from the men's side. The women's side got a little interesting too. And then, Drew cursed to me, Dave, because last week we were talking, we were like, oh man, all this action has happened at the Division I level. Man, nothing is going on in Division II. and he cursed me. He said, B, you jinxed it. He's like, you got on the show and talked about the Division II, and then sure enough, in like one day, it's like you got 3 different chain of events happening in Division II. So we still got more to talk about in terms of the coaching carousel happening in the HBCU diaspora. You're hanging with Bryan and David right here on the BCSN SportsWrap. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute, right after this short break.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. As you can see, that's David L. Rhodes joining me tonight as AD Drew is on assignment somewhere driving around from spot A to spot B, working for the brand, the Morehouse brand. Yeah, happy Palm Sunday to everyone out there. It is the Holy Week. I'll tell you, I was listening to some really great morning services on my drive back from Tallahassee this morning. I think I caught three different services with three very different moving messages. I was very really inspired, and I found that really refreshing on a Sunday like today. So I got a 4-day week. It's a good thing about teaching at a Christian private school. 4-day week. Good Friday coming up.
Spring break. It's spring break for the kids this week, so I got. Okay. Yeah, like my daughter, she still lives with me, but my son's gonna be with me all week too. So I gotta, breaks during the week when I still have to work means that I gotta pay somebody to take one of my kids all day.
Oh, gotta be somewhere. Gotta be somewhere
because they can't come to work with me, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely appreciate the shout out, Edwin. Exactly, leaving Sunday service. So hello to you and everyone else joining us. I see WSSU Ram Nation joining in. Appreciate you checking in as well, and everybody else who might be watching us on any of our number of streams. So back to the coaching carousel we go. And on the women's side of things, Division I, there were four openings last week. You had Prairie View A&M, Alabama State, Morgan State, and Coppin State. Of course, the Coppin State one came open because Coppin State coach became the new head coach of the Norfolk State women's program, right? So we talk about that carousel jumping around in the MEAC. Well, right there on the East Coast, from Virginia State up to Morgan, Coach Nadine Damon, becomes the new head coach.
I butchered her name last week too.
What's bad is that little graphic. Anyway, I'm sitting here. I didn't zoom in all the way. But anyway, Coach resigned from Virginia State. And literally within, not even 24 hours, she's taken over as a new coach, a new women's coach at Morgan State after the previous coach, I believe it was Davis, had retired from the position. And so just looking at a little bit of the resume coming there after leading the Lady Trojans to back-to-back 20-win seasons. Their first ever appearance in the Division II women's tournament. Actually I believe she was even coaching in the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Which
there was a few coaches that made some moves during that All-Star game.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second because there were like half of the coaches who were coaching in that HBCU All-Star game, what was that, a week ago? Who would have known that none of them, or half of the 8, because they had 2 coaches for the men, each of the men's team and each of the women's team. So you got a total of 8 coaches. Half of them would be gone literally a week later, not even, just over a week later. So Coach Damon, she takes over at Morgan State, which leaves an opening now at Virginia State. And then we saw also on the women's side another Division I job that just got filled was the Alabama State job. Another coach who had been there for a couple of decades. Janetta Hayes ends up taking over the position for the retired Frida Freeman Jackson, who had retired after 27 seasons leading the Alabama State program. Of course, Hayes comes from, she had a period of time at Texas Southern where she was 83-24 in the SWAC. That's a 78 winning percentage and an overall record of 115-74. So I'm like, Dave, first off, if you're at a HBCU with that kind of numbers, that's telling me something right there. First off, because you know who you're playing a lot of times in non-conference, right? So the fact that you're getting those kind of wins, really impressive. She led TSU to 2 SWAC regular season titles, 1 tournament title, 4 overall postseason tournaments. The INCAA, the WNIT, and the WCBI. I mean, it's like a boxing league over there in the women's, and they got even new divisions now. It's like, there's more women's postseason tournaments than there are boxing belts. So I don't know.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, the more, give all them women opportunities. Let's see. She also had head coaching stops at Wiley College and UMB, University of Maryland, Baltimore. She also had Rutgers.
He was at Rutgers last season.
Yeah, Rutgers last season.
She was the assistant coach at Rutgers last season.
Okay, an assistant coach at Rutgers. Okay, I didn't think she was the head coach, but she was the assistant coach. So good moves on the women's side. And you say hoping for issue. Is Winston? I don't know. Is there a position open at Winston-Salem? Oh yeah, so. I guess yeah.
Yeah, the coach retired. Coach announced retirement.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah. So
you're gonna be in a bidding war. You're gonna be in a bidding war, Ram Nation. Bidding war, you shall enter.
Yeah. So that opens up the door there on the Division II side. Oh, and then it got even juicier, Dave, as we talked about those transitions from the HBCU All-Star game. Well, Fayetteville. So last week we reported. Actually, we didn't report it. Our girl Liv for Hoops had reported that Coach Luke D'Alesso, was going through contract negotiations, as it was kind of put out there, and that it seemed like Fayetteville State was not going to renew the contract or offer him a new contract, right? That's kind of what was out there, even though he was being honored with all kinds of accolades at Fayetteville State. And I found this kind of fitting for a coach who was only at Fayetteville State for 5 seasons, right, from 2019 forward. But during that time, he had an impressive overall record of 103-52, which is a 66.5 win percentage, which added to his over 300 win career, his over 300 wins in his coaching career. Let's see. Fayetteville State during his time made 3 appearances in the CIAA championship, secured the program's 2nd conference title after a 49-year drought. They played in 2 NCAA regional tournaments, advanced to their first ever semifinal game, had 6 players make all CIAA, had a tournament MVP, and I think he even did win the championship, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean,
I don't know why you don't pay him, man.
Oh, they didn't pay him, Dave, because next man up. That man, the former Bluefield State coach. I'm telling you, it's musical chairs in the CIAA. You take your coach, we'll take your coach. Bluefield State, Devin, how do you say the last name? Is it Howen?
I'm rolling with Howen.
Howen? I like that.
I'm rolling with that for now.
It makes
so somebody
sense.
corrects me.
I got you. But he was at Bluefield State. Bluefield State got a chance to go. I think they went to the championship game this past year, right?
Yep.
19-11. I think they were predicted to finish last, if I recall. Finished up as the number 2 seed in the Northern Division. Ended up going to the championship game. Came that close to winning the doggone thing.
It's Hearn. It's Hearn.
Hearn. Okay. Thank you. Hearn. David Hearn. And again, he took over the program, building the Bluefield State program in 2021. He had a CIAA Player of the Year in Jordan Hines, who was the HBCU D2 Player of the Year, the Atlantic Region Player of the Year. He also had 3 all tournament team players. Hearn did a good job at his time there, and I don't know. I can't make heads and tails of it, Dave. It just when one contract ends, everyone's looking to upgrade.
Yeah, but Fayetteville State had a pretty good thing going though, and I'm pretty sure the previous coach is going to be able to find a gig. And it's true, man. Like if you can win in Bluefield State, he's probably going to bring some of those guys to Fayetteville just off the strength. But it's going to be fascinating to see how he does with all the coaching changes and now what Bluefield State's going to do, because now they're looking for a coach.
Yeah,
they should just trade. Coach Luke should just go down there.
That give me that. I would love to see that. Wouldn't you just love to see that?
That'll be a great finals matchup too. If they get to the CIAA finals. Who's who in the zoo?
That would be pretty good.
But Hearn's going. It looks, if you look at it, Hearn's going. They're like Fayetteville State's going younger, and that might not be a bad trend to go right now, because what we're seeing, what's going on with coaches nowadays, it's starting to make sense that you got to start considering going younger with these coaches. But everything's going on with the transfer portal and things of that sort.
Yeah, but we say that though, and I don't know how. I'm sitting here trying to see, okay, how is how old is D'Alesso? I mean, I know he's had 15, 16 years of coaching experience as a head coach. 15, 16 years of head coaching experience. I'm trying to look here quickly and see. Let me see. I don't know. He can't be more than. Huh?
He's high in his age, huh? I'm gonna look him up.
Well, he can't be more. I'm looking at this timeline. I can't imagine he's more than mid 50s. It would be a good call. I don't think he's top on the list though.
I'm pretty sure he's not top of the list.
I'm pretty sure he's not top of the list. I mean, be a good hire for somebody. Look, I don't.
Oh yeah, I think he would be. I think he can coach.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a good opportunity for somebody. And you look at what's out there, and then of course the news that, and I don't know. I heard. I don't know where it falls in terms of the shocking news of all the news this past week, but the news went out back on Thursday that Morehouse College was moving away from head coach Doug Whitler and an assistant coach, Terrell Polk, both of them departing from Morehouse, but essentially effective immediately. That's not a good sign when they tell you effective immediately. But that coming from the president, Dr. David Thomas, and I believe they might have held the AD hostage and made him put his name on that as well. But anyway, that's what came out of that. And just Whitler. I'm just pulling up here my notes on Whitler. He'd been there at Morehouse 4 seasons after the tragic death of Grady Brewer. He basically took over the program. I believe he'd even been an assistant under Brewer, if I'm not mistaken. In the 4 seasons with the Maroon Tigers, Whitler had a 76-40 record, 59-21 in the SIC. He owns the second highest winning percentage in the 115 years that Morehouse has played basketball. And he captured an SIC East title in his first 3 seasons, finished second this past year. He was the co-head coach of the Team Adels team in the All-Star game. And one last note here, Dave. Morehouse has only had 4 coaches since World War II. Wow. Right. Franklin, Forbes, Arthur, McAfee, stadium arena named after Forbes, court named after McAfee. Grady Brewer had been there, and then Whitler. So, Morehouse looking for a new man. And he was a Morehouse man, by the way.
Yeah, and the thing is that, you know, when you haven't had that many coaches, that means you haven't gone through this process often. In an era where a lot of folks go through this process very often. So it's going to be fascinating to see how long it's going to take before they announce a new coach, and what the next and how long that next individual lasts at Morehouse, and what type of success that new coach is going to have, because you got some big shoes to fill here.
So most surprising move to you, Dave, was what?
It's close between Fayetteville State and Morehouse, in my opinion. Like them moving on. Well, one not renewing the contract of one, and then moving on from this coach that is also an alumnus of the institution at Morehouse. Those are the two that boggles my. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't as shocked at Dante Jackson heading to Alabama A&M once you connect the dots. I wasn't shocked at Crary going to Grambling. I expected him to go somewhere after the year, considering the success he had. So I expected it. It's just a matter of what job was going to be available for him to go to.
Yeah. I would go with the Whitler job. But as you said, once you kind of know a little more, it still is the shocking one, because you can connect the dots for the other things. You can see that, okay, you've got a contract issue, and maybe DLSO wanted more than what Fayetteville State was really willing to pay. And I haven't dug into the relationship between Coach Hearn and the AD or the president at Fayetteville State, which it's always about connections. You always have to think about the connections, right? And so that might, while it is a little shocking, but you say you're at the end of the term, yes. Coach DeMond shouldn't surprise, because whenever you have an opportunity to leave from Division II up and a significant pay jump, I don't think that should surprise.
You know what was surprising? When guarding that job, that reports were out that Dawn Thornton was a finalist. That was surprising.
That was surprising.
That was surprising.
That would have been the Trump move surprise of all, had she decided to leave.
But then, because all the discourse on Twitter, and I kept saying, Morgan State pays their coaches.
Yes.
Y'all can feel how y'all want to feel about whether or not they win or not. But one thing that they're going to do, they're going to pay their coaches.
Yes.
Take care of them.
That is interesting. The fact that Thornton was a candidate, and I guess everything is, if she was one of the finalists, those kind of things are both. You have to kind of have those relationships in two ways, So I don't know. Maybe from a relationship standpoint, it maybe didn't fit. I don't know, but.
It could have been anything, man. Like,
but seeing the name out there, and this is the part that is going to be interesting, and I don't know how you feel about this, because that news kind of got out right on the heels of Dante Jackson coming in, and it was like the next day you're hearing, oh, Thornton's a candidate. You're like, well, so sometimes people get a little. They feel some kind of way when I'm not saying that is Dr. Paul Bryant. I'm not saying that, but who knows? Might be something to keep an eye on for this upcoming year at Alabama A&M. And I'll never forget, I heard, and I think it was on one of our shows, or, I think it was Coach Petway on Saturday's Carlos Brown show. He and AD Wheeler were also talking about coaches have to be very careful about their name being associated with future jobs, because that could come back on you in a negative way, especially if you don't have a good season.
Oh yeah. I don't think Coach Thornton got nothing to worry about. I think she's going to be okay. I think she's going to. I mean, I expect Alabama. I think that women's program is going to continue to roll with her at the helms. I don't think she's too worried about that. But I always find it fascinating because I think people kind of take things aback about when coaches are out here sniffing. You'll be surprised with some of the names I've heard for some of these jobs, and I'm going to keep to myself. But it's you'll be amazed who applies where, because sometimes you just do it as a feeler, and sometimes you don't expect to be a finalist. You just trying to sniff around to see what's out there. I mean, we do that in our careers too. Sometimes you might be enjoying what you're doing, but then there's an opportunity that pops up, and you just sniff around and see what's there. You know,
that requires. There are now. Look, Dave. You know, and I know there are some ADs out there though who might take that a little bit. You know, who might be offended by that. Yes, it may be leverage on one side, but on the other side, it also means that if your house isn't in order, I'm looking at you with that thought that, oh, you were looking elsewhere. So if I'm not seeing the kind of things that I expect from my program, if I see my kid, you know, it's that old tie-in, Dave, where sometimes people will say, oh, he can't or she can't be focused on doing X, Y, and Z because, well, they're out there doing this and they're doing that. If you're out looking for other jobs, how are you out recruiting? You know, if you're out looking for other jobs, how can you be building our program infrastructure? You know, I mean, the tie-in is not always true. It rarely is true because I think there's enough hours in a day and enough time to be able to do both. But the optics don't look good.
Oh, no, it's bad. It's always rough optics, especially when you get a report out. But you got to remember, it's just like these kids, these student athletes. They looking too. I mean, that's the nature of the beast right now. But the thing is, we've always had the coaching carousel. The coaching carousel didn't just appear now. I think folks are staring at it a little bit harder now because now the students, athletes can do the same. So it becomes fascinating. Like you're gonna be in a rotational batting cage with regards to that across the board, both on the player side and on the coaching side. Mm-hmm. So the optics are bad. Don't get me wrong, but you know you can't be mad if somebody pops up occasionally.
Right, and
you just can't because you as the AD, you should make sure you take care of the folks you have so you don't give them a reason to look. That you don't give I tell my folks in management all the time. I'm like, you're worried about why people are leaving when you need to be worried about why people are looking.
Oh wow, that's powerful.
You got and whenever I say that to them, they all look at me like I'm crazy. Like why they're leaving is irrelevant because there's no way you can convince them to stay. You need to figure out why they decided to look.
Yes, good point. Good point. And that goes for that. That's a great point, Dave, because that goes not only coaches but also to student athletes as well.
Yep.
That's a great point.
Yep.
Great point. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to hold on to that one. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Learn something today. That's good stuff. All right. When we come back after this short break, we're going to get into talking a little bit about how college athletic programs are going to try to keep up. Dave's got some intel or some news to share from his beloved university, but it also brings that bigger question with the happenings right now. You've got spring football happening. You've got the transfer portal opening for football on Wednesday. It's already open in basketball. And I think all of our colleges are trying to figure out how to navigate everything. There was no new developments from the House settlement thing that happened on this past Monday. Surprisingly, no new news. I'm not surprised. I'm saying that facetiously, but So let's take a short break, come back, and talk a little more. In the chats, I want to hear from you. Spring football games happen. What's the big story for your university? That's what I want to know. What is the big storyline? One or two. Don't get too deep in the woods. What's the big storyline that you're interested to know or find out about, or that you're going to be paying attention to over the next month after spring practices and once these spring game reports start to come out? Share that in the chats. You're watching the chats on YouTube, MyJBN Online, or on the BCSN SportsWrap YouTube page. You could be also sending something there on Facebook, Black College Sports Network. as well as the BCSN SportsWrap Facebook page. We'll be back after this short break. Dave and I right here on the BCSN SportsWrap on the Black College Sports Network.
It's like a loot machine. Going around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. I'm Brian. That's David. David, playoffs? As if 18 holes wasn't enough, David. We got playoff golf. we have playoff golf happening.
Did Rory at least make it to that point, or did he collapse?
Rory versus first and second round leader Justin Rhodes, who Rhodes had a horrible round 3. Allowed Rory to jump in front and grab the lead. And somehow on the back 9, Rory just puked on himself. Rhodes got hot, and we end up with these two in a tie through 18 or through 72, I guess is what you can say. And now it's down to I don't know all the rules. Let me see. Is
it what? Like some of them they just do one hole, and some of them they do a whole.
Yes, that's what I don't know.
I don't remember.
That I don't know.
It's been a while, guys. It's been a while.
I'm texting somebody now. How many holes in this playoff? It's my assistant coach, who is he's a diehard golfer. He follows us, so he'll tell me here real quick. But yeah. So again, Rose v. Rory in the playoffs. I think neither one of them has won the Masters, even though they've kind of flirted around and gotten second or third a couple times. Yeah, Rose has finished second twice. And Rory I think he's finished top 5 before. Chuck Hunt said he's watching the Masters as well. Chuck, what do you know? Do you know the playoff rules? Somebody hit me up with the playoff rules. Playoffs. I can't get that out of my mind. Playoffs. So anyway, my guy who I had a little cup of coffee on, he ended up choking on the 18th. So thanks. He didn't, thanks for nothing, guy. Anyway. All right. So again, spring football is here. A lot of spring football games are happening. You had Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, second year coaches there. No, let me see. Is Woody in his second year? Yeah, I think he is. Second year coaches. First year coaches. Alabama A&M had a spring practice. First year coach for Sam Shade. Texas Southern, Coach Dishman, second year for him. Southern, second-year coach, had their spring practice. Mississippi Valley State had their spring practice. First-year coach T-Buck. A&T, first-year coach Gibbs. Howard and Hampton also had spring practices. I don't think any of these were actually streamed or broadcast, Dave.
Actually,
or were they?
We were on the radio. We had Tobacco Sports Radio, and they pretty much was commentating the whole scrimmage, the spring practice, spring game.
Interesting. Radio.
Second year they've done this.
How'd that go over?
Well, I couldn't make it. You know, it was my daughter's
birthday. Did you listen though? Did you listen?
I did listen. It was good. I mean, I will say this, and we got some rough news the night prior to the spring game. KJ White, who was presumed to be the starter, broke his leg during practice that night. So
the quarterback.
He ended up having surgery Saturday morning, and so he's pretty much done for the year. Baby Hook, who was on your team roster last year, he transferred from A&T. He came back to A&T, and he got injured a few weeks prior, so he's out for the year. Braxton Thomas, who would probably be the presumed starter at this point, he's hurt. So we had our fourth-string quarterback, Noah Sanders, pretty much took the helm during the spring game. It ended up not being a spring game. It became more of a practice, and they ended up doing a scrimmage because they only had 6 healthy offensive linemen as well. So it's already rough over in Aggieland from that standpoint. I know Coach Gibbs has already assured the fan base that he plans on going into the portal heavy, very heavy.
Fam, you might have a quarterback that might be available. Just in
well, I
case
mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Look, man, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be kind of hectic because they haven't hit the 105 because the goal is to hit 105 because we are opting in, so we're going to have the roster limits. So we got to hit the 105. They haven't hit the 105. They have 85 players currently right now on the roster, but up front is where, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, is where they're hurting pretty rough. I hope not, Edwin.
I'm already have to move the line from 5 down to
yeah. You
4,
better.
Dave.
I had it under at 5. I had it under at 5. So you.
I was going to set it at 5.5 first year Gibbs, but now I may have to move it down to 4.5.
I mean, Gibbs is probably good enough to get us a couple wins off coaching alone, but I think he's got to have players first. So I mean, it's a long time between now and August, so I'm not as panicky yet. I think if Braxton Thomas comes back, I think we'll be okay at quarterback. I don't know how serious his injuries are, but you know.
Spoiler alert for anybody who is curious. If you're interested in wanting to know what happened in the Masters, I will tell you that here in 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler alert. Rory McIlroy wins his first Masters in a very emotional moment. It was sudden death. So essentially one hole, and if you tie that hole, you go to another hole. But Rose had a putt that looked like it rolled to the right. Rory sank his. Wow, the emotion is pretty dramatic. Wait till you see the pictures and the video. He gets the career Grand Slam, I believe now.
Yeah,
he joins the career Grand Slam club, and
it's the only one he didn't have.
Finally, yeah, it's the only one he didn't have, and finally, Rory does it. So yeah, congratulations to Rory McIlroy. I didn't have anything on it, but I know a lot of people did going in.
Oh, so. Yeah. He had to win one eventually, right? Just like how Phil Mickelson took too long to win a major. It took him forever to win one.
Yeah. You know, they say eventually it comes to the good ones. It'll eventually come to you. Just got to keep fighting. Got to keep plugging away. So I don't, let me see. I don't preview. Somebody posted a preview. Obviously, they have a first-year coach, but I don't think they had their spring game on Saturday.
Yeah, so since we're talking about the A&T spring game, I guess we can have that quick conversation about the NIL situation.
Yeah. So set it up with, I saw a little bit about it, but set up what took place this weekend surrounding A&T and
So the morning of the spring game, there was a call to action meeting involving the Aggie Athletic Foundation, the AD, and pretty much the university to discuss NIL. and some of the goals that they want to do. So 80 Earl Hilton came up. He briefed. I called in. They had a big event. Like they served breakfast, they served lunch, they did a Q&A. It was about close to 2 hours.
Who was invited? Who could come to this?
Oh, anybody could come. It was primarily the members of the AAF and alumni that they knew about it. All they had to do was just RSVP. They could come.
Oh,
They wanted, yeah, and I think they're going to release the whole meeting into the public soon, but because it was recorded, so they can at least release it to the public soon. So AD Hilton came up. He briefed some of the data points. He talked about kids who go in the portal, who transfer D1 to D1. He did percentages compared it to how A&T's doing overall. A&T needs to work when it comes to folks that are going into the portal and not finding a home. Like I guess the NCAA average is 35% of the folks don't find a home, and A&T sitting at 44%. So that things like that. But I think the big kicker was when he was discussing NIL, it was about how to pay for it, and it got to the whole discussion point about what the students pay already. So currently, right now, A&T, their revenue for athletics, 60% of that comes from the students.
Okay.
Through athletic fees.
Athletic fees. Okay.
So they tried to, in a caveat, in the state of North Carolina, you can't use like institutional funds to pay for athletics. So you either got to come from the students. Yeah, you either got to come from the students, or they got to come from athletics or sponsorships or things of that sort, right? So, they requested to get their the athletic fees increased by $50 a year. Problem is that they're already the third highest in all in the UNC system. And so the board of governors said absolutely not. And I think the students would have probably pushed back too, knowing them. So they're already paying the third highest in all of the UNC system. And for the caveat, for those who don't know, there's 16 schools in the UNC system. Like that's where Chapel Hill, North Carolina State, 5 HBCUs is in that system, Fayetteville State, Elizabeth City, Winston, school down the road, A&T. So you have a plethora of institutions within that system, and we're the third highest. And if they would have added the $50, we would have been the highest. We would have went up to number one.
More than North Carolina, huh? More than the University of North Carolina.
University of North Carolina is among the lowest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
they got large numbers. So.
Yeah, they have large numbers. Actually, let me see if I can find the numbers. So, University of North Carolina is paying $279 a year. A&T's paying $870.
$870 in athletic fees?
Yep, $870 a year. The highest is UNC Asheville at $906, and Elizabeth City State is at $899.
So what does that get? What does that $870 get students? And first I'll let people know how many students are we talking about, and what does it get students?
Over 14,000 students go to A&T. Largest HBCU in the country. So that, you pretty much get to go to pretty much the majority of all the games. There are some, like there's a lottery. There's like a first come, first served type of lottery for like the big games, like GHO, when Aggie Eagles in town and things of that sort. But pretty much you get access to all the games. And that's all the sports, right? But we know what most folks care about, even though we've been getting some better attendance than some of the other the non-revenue sports as well. So that's what it gets them, because there's a set, like some schools it's rolled in with the student activity fees. That's not the case. There's a separate student activity fee that covers like the band, esports, and all the activities that happen for the students on campus outside of athletics. So that was like one of the jarring pieces of the puzzle. And then they put up a chart comparing like the HBC, what percentage the HBCUs are paid, like athletics are paid for by the students for HBCUs versus the CAA versus FCS programs versus non-FCS programs. And the jarring thing is the fact that the majority of the students are footing the tab, and that's not the case in all the other options, in all the other categories. So I think the point that Earl was trying to put across is like, hey, the alumni is going to have to start, the alumni and sponsors is going to have to start footing this bill. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to sustain it. Then they even had a crazy chart where even Earl was like, hey, head coaches, turn your head. I don't want you to see this. So like that was an hilarious moment of the meeting, right? So he pretty much showed the amount of the delta of what we pay our head coaches versus the CAA, and it's about an $800,000 delta on average compared to the average school in the CAA. And then he also talked about the scholarship delta, and he also showed how even though we spend less in scholarships, we don't cost as much as some of these other schools in the conference, and also we still have the similar equivalencies. We only have a 10 scholarship difference in equivalencies, but they also have one more sport than us on average. So that kind of makes us pretty much even Steven. Like we really haven't had any challenges with regards to that. And then the members of the athletic foundations, they did a brief talking about the increase of scholarships if we wanted to compete, and the delta of the dollar cost of what that would be, which is significant. So, I think the point that folks were trying to put across is that the alumni is going to have to do more, but it shouldn't be the ones that are already giving. It's more about expanding your base. Because there was one chart that was jarring, and I'm going to pull it up because I want to make sure I'm accurate when I say this. See if I can find it real fast. Here it is. So the Aggie Athletic Foundation pretty much pulled up a chart showing the athletic foundation donors compared to who gives. And I know this is probably a challenge across all HBCUs with regards to this. So like A&T has 72,000 living alumni, registered alumni right now. And the number of AAF donors for currently year to date for A&T right now is 924 folks that give to the AAF. Out of those folks, only 647 of those members are alumni. And 3,187 gave to the university, period. Might not necessarily be athletic, but they gave to the university. So when you have that many alumni, we got to expand the base. And that is the biggest challenge. And I think that's something that I think a lot of institutions, particularly HBCUs, have. And when you're in a resource situation, you're not going to necessarily get help from the state, depending on what state you're in. You have to make the tough decisions. So, and we have a goal to try to get to like $800,000 in NIL this year. So the big key to do that is to have the alumni to give. We've already gotten a $100,000 donation to get us through that hurdle. And the Athletics Foundation is already committed to do another $250K. So the goal is to try to get to that, because another thing that happened during that meeting was we had two of our head coaches and one of their players each come up. And I think Coach Terrell Robinson kind of hit it home when he was discussing what was going on with him regarding his team after winning the CAA championship. Mm-hmm. So he had a young lady who has been on the team for over 4 years, and she was getting ready to head into the portal. And he offered the remaining money that was left in the Pride of A&T Collective, and she made the decision to stay. But then he talked about how he was he said he had 2 more scholarships to give, and he's trying to replace some of the seniors that he's losing. And he was recruiting this young lady, and he talked about the fact that he's been at A&T for 13 years and won 8 championships during that 13-year period. He's 8 wins away to being the all-time winningest coach in history of A&T, men or women. He's 8 wins away. Talked about how great the university is and things of that sort. But when it all came down to it, she asked the question, that's great, but when am I going to get paid? And so then he's like, well, and so the problem is he can say, maybe we can do something for you. Whereas she can go to another institution and they'll say, we shall do this. And we have to get past the maybes, right? And so then the first thing a coach would do is like, well, I'll go down to Division II and look at some talent down in D2, but they're asking for money too. So it's coming down the pike across the board. So I think it boils down to alumni are going to have to pitch in. We got to get more corporate sponsorships. And I think when the alumni pitch in, that helps. But it's becoming a point where if we don't start investing, if you want to win championships, you're going to have to invest. And part of that investment is taking care of the players, student athletes. And I think that was kind of the reality that was kind of like going in, because I had discussions before this meeting with some older guards, so to speak, just to be, nice. And some of them didn't understand and didn't think that you need to pay them. The younger folks tend to understand,
Yeah.
But some of the others were like, well, nah, I don't want to be paying these players. I think that's the way that the scholarship's enough. And I'm like, all right, the scholarship's enough.
Yeah, there's an older generation. There's an older generation. I would say 60 and older, you're probably in that ballpark of thinking. Hell, probably some folks 50 or older.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not.
I shouldn't say 60. I should probably say 50 and older.
The 50s and up, the 50s and up crews. A lot of them don't think they should be doing it. Not all of them, but some.
Hold on, let me ask this. Let me come back because there's a couple things that I heard you say. Is the athletic? So the AAF is that the Alumni Athletic Foundation?
Yes, the Aggie Athletic Foundation.
Aggie Athletic. So is that foundation, is that separate than a foundation? Does A&T have a foundation for itself? Like, is there more than one foundation? For example,
no, there's not. There's no. This for the athletic. This is it. Like, and I know we used to.
I'm talking about for the university. Does the university have its own foundation?
We used to have. Well, we still do. We had a A&T. It was called. It was a foundation, but it was the original premise of it was to give out scholarships. And then when Chancellor Martin came in 2009, he converted that scholarship foundation into a real estate foundation. And that's when he started investing in buying properties across the campus because he wanted to grow the school, but he knew he couldn't grow the school without getting some housing going. So he started buying, they started buying up apartment complexes across in the Greensboro area and made it part of the campus, which makes it beautiful because then you can utilize financial aid to cover housing for the students. So
that I'm looking at trying to I'm comparing and contrasting with what Florida A&M has.
But y'all have a lot of different like auxiliary groups that give the athletics. Y'all got like a whole clan. Yeah. But I think the goal for us is to just have everybody go to the AAF. And then
right,
like
so
we have
so you guys don't have is there like booster organizations? You have boosters.
That's in essence is the booster organization in essence. That is it in essence, right?
Okay.
And then we have the Pride of A&T collective too going. That just started a few years ago.
Is that separate from the university?
Yeah, but I have a feeling that's about since with the new rules, I think that's about to change.
It's going to get absorbed.
I think it might get absorbed.
Maybe get absorbed. Okay.
Yeah, or something new's going to pop up, or they might just put it all within the AF. I don't know how they're going to do it yet, but I know they had some initiatives that they're trying to do to try to increase athletic giving. The first step is because the big challenge too is, and a lot of folks probably don't have this discussion. There's a lot of folks who give to the school, and the numbers show that, right?
Right.
But a lot of them don't give to athletics. Like,
sure,
we always talk about how we have 8% of our alumni base give back to the school. You might only get like 1 or 2% of that gives back to athletics.
Well, but in those numbers that you mentioned with the AAF, sounds like it's under 1,000. I think is if I heard you.
Yeah, that gives to the year to date for this year. Like the previous year they had 1,874 total AAF donors. 677 of those were alumni that gave to the athletics, but 3,300 alumni gave to the school. Period.
So, did he propose or did they talk about how many season ticket holders? Because I guess as I'm hearing that, I'm trying to think of, okay, you're trying to draw money from people who may be casual supporters of athletics, is what it sounds like. So my question would go to be, how many of the AAF members are season ticket holders? And then looking at your season ticket holders, I would imagine, you guys, have a healthy season ticket package. I would imagine if you got 5,000 season ticket holders.
Yeah, we got about that, believe it or not.
Okay. I mean, but that's already, that's 5 times more than you have people that are in the AAF. So there's a miss somewhere.
Yeah, there's a miss. And here's the kicker, right? So if you're an AAF member, you get first dibs on season tickets for basketball and football. Like part of the reason I'm a member of the AAF, part of the reason why I am, and so I can get dibs for those things because I want to be able to I want to have to be worried about trying to get tickets for G-Ho or Aggie Eagle when we have them.
Okay. So Jeff says
there it is.
Yeah. Okay. That, and I,
makes sense.
It does. It does really. And you can, that's the one that I know a lot of people have at Florida A&M is that we do have all these different entities, and sometimes the messaging doesn't always seem to be crisp. It doesn't seem to be directed in the right angle. And I love the fact that, okay, you have somebody that's out in front making people realize what it is. But then also you're trying to say, look, we have to be able to reach out and grab a hold. And I've said this before at Florida A&M, and I would say this for any school. If you can activate, I mean, you mentioned 70,000 alumni, right, of North Carolina A&T.
Yep.
And how many of them are active givers? What was that number you said?
31. As of right now for this year is 3187. But the year's young.
Well, I mean, look, hey, that's almost half. So that's better than average. I mean, I've heard people talk about only 10% of alumni give. So I mean, the fact that you're drawing, nearly
3,100, not 32,000.
Oh, 3,100. I'm sorry. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
No. Oh, if that was the case, we wouldn't have nothing to worry about, man.
Okay, so now we're talking. You okay? Jesus, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
so
I wish.
Average. Yeah. Okay. See, I thought y'all were already doing something, but you're right there with everybody else. But no, the question is, how do you engage that gap? And really, what's crazy, Dave? And I've always said, if you can really somehow find a way to increase that number by about 10%, 10% would be dramatic. And really what we're talking about is another 7,000 people. I think, and the thing is, I think we can do it, right? Because for those who don't know, a few years ago, me and two of my classmates started an endowment for the computer science department at my school, because we were talking to the dean and the chair and we were having discussions about what the students needed. And I think that was one of the big things, so they didn't have to work and try to get an engineering degree or computer science degree. So we started an endowment, and we had 5 years to raise the $25K, and we ended up raising it in 2.5. And part of it was because I pretty much reached out to my classmates, and these were classmates who have never given to the school before, and they started giving to the school, to the point that even one of them started their own endowment. So I think the big key is that you just got to reach out to the folks. You go out with your classmates, friends you met while you was at your particular institution, and they probably never given a dime. And that's not judge them for that, but just talk to them like, hey, so why haven't you given? This is a good thing to give for, and explain it and have that conversation. And then you'll be surprised what type of results you'll get. You know what you did? You did the old school, who was it who used to do you did the old school Jerry Lewis telethon, which I have said, Dave, is a strategy. And I may have shared this somewhere, but I would share it with anybody at FAMU or any other HBCU. So if anybody's listening, I would encourage, instead of this, FAMU just did a day of giving. And I'm sure everybody, I was blown away when I heard Grambling did their 1801 day of giving and raised $700,000. I was like,
that's awesome, man.
That was twice as much as what FAMU raised for their 1887 strikes day of giving. But I would say this, Dave, that whole thing is off, because we used to watch, I don't know, maybe we did, maybe I
did. No, I watched Jerry Lewis when I was a kid.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
okay, so
hear
me when I say this. Jerry Lewis used to do that telethon. And the thing that made that telethon selective or I thought successful is the fact that it was real people actually calling people they knew. So taking what you just said, if I had a group of people and I had them on the phone actually contacting alumni that and then I'm sure as you're contacting people and say, hey, fam, I appreciate you giving. Would you give me 5 names? Give me 5 names. And even if it's a matter of, people that you don't connect with or maybe didn't, hey, can you give me even, 3, 5, give me 3, that whole connection, give me 3 to 5 people that I can contact and say, you supported this initiative and I was giving your name. And then more importantly, even if you just broke off a quick text and say, hey, you're going to get a text from so-and-so, for this. And that I bet you anything, if our universities did that kind of reach out and touch and connect people that you know, I bet you it would be more successful than the current initiatives that they do with these. Like I was in, like the one for FAMU, we had people snapping fans and two-stepping and all that stuff. That's all great. But then I looked at the numbers, and the numbers, I mean, we probably spent more money in the promotional of getting the song rights and all the other stuff than we did actually raising funds. I'm being extra, but I mean,
but the thing is, man, like when you're talking about like A&T's goal is 850 this year. I think I believe it's 850 or 800K, and they want to get to $1 million for NIL, just for NIL, by the way, guys. They want to get to $1 million in NIL by 2030, and like some of the numbers they put up, we could probably hit it if we just had like 2,000 or 3,000 people give $1 a day. Like it's just we got initiatives that we're going to try to do to try to get more alumni involved, because and I don't always like to, well, sometimes I do like to be doom and gloom, but I was trying to explain to folks like, look guys, you want to win championships. We've already lost track players to the portal because we couldn't give them anything. Because a lot of times what we've learned is that for the women's basketball program, even Coach Robinson said, he said, I don't have to give the same amount that these Power 5 schools are giving, but I have to be able to give something.
Something. Yeah.
And if I can't even give something, then I'm not going to be able to keep a roster. And that's the reality of it. Like there were players that could have went into the portal from that championship roster this year. Like before that season started, they could have went into the portal, and they loved A&T so much, and they were able to give something. They decided to stay.
How much? Let me ask you this, Dave. And I had this discussion with a friend as we talked about all things happening with our beloved university at FAMU, and he said something to me that it hit a bone, it hit a nerve, and I can't really tell him he's wrong, because I think he might be right when he said this. We are looking at this sports prism and the financials that are happening in college athletics through the eyes of what Caucasians, what white folks, their enthusiasm for sports is, I think, systemically or just in general more than ours. In the respect that they've seen many of them, and you can see by the numbers, they get it that it takes money to get these kids. Like it's an arms race running out there. People who make money are not shy about spending money on. I hate to say it,
but do you know why? They've been doing it all this time. Now it's just out in the open.
Thank you. It's the bag man. The bag. They're spending money on their entertainment.
Yeah, the bag man has always been here.
They're spending money on us, and we entertain and keep that entertainment value of their college teams. They never played sport. They don't play sport, but we. So the question is, us, our people, our schools, are we in the wrong business? And I hear, like you said, that generation that says, well, you know what? If they don't want to be here, they don't see the value in North Carolina A&T or FAMU or Southern, then you know what? They can step. You know, they can walk. They don't need to be here if they don't understand how great of an institution is and how this school can change their life going forward. That disconnect, I worry, Dave, that we're chasing and trying to be in a space that is not designed for us to be in.
And it's interesting because as an institution that's in a predominantly white conference, right, in the CAA, and that was the attitude going into that NIL discussion, right? Like we were making the number, we were getting the data based on what our conference members are doing, right? Like when you have somebody like a UNCW that has a $500K NIL budget just for basketball, right? Just for men's basketball, right? If you expect to win games in this conference, this is what you have to do. So you, like you said, we have to come to that reality check and decide that this is what we really want. We just saw a school make the decision to go from Division I to Division III after being in an NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I don't. Do I want our institutions to do that? No, but I do think we have to start having legitimate discussions. Because you can't not invest and expect a certain result. You can't.
That's true. That's true.
You can't. And that's the thing, right?
So somebody has to ask these people. I don't care if it's a survey that is sent out via Q. Somebody has to gather the data because everyone's making plans based on the assumptions that we all want to win. But at the end of the day, people aren't supporting. Like they understand that it takes money to win. So my point is, who's going to put the survey out there and ask the 2-question survey? Do you care about your university winning? Yes or no? And then, do you care enough to invest money to win?
EA just said something, man. Do we really appreciate athletics? And I'll pull it up.
That's. Oh, you putting it up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got the keys too.
Okay, you got keys too. That's what I'm talking about right there. But that is the question. I don't think we do.
And we might not. But then if that's the case, then I think we need to start doing what we need to do to make sure that we can sustain. If you want to have athletics, maybe Division I ain't the calling. Because I'm
that's what I keep. I hate to keep coming back to that, Dave, because I know what we want to be. I want to be.
Well, define we. Define that's the thing. You got to define the we, right? Because
Florida A&M, North Carolina A&M. I think there is a handful of schools that, because of the history that we have had of winning.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm trying to be disrespectful to some of y'all out there who have had a smidge of winning, but I'm talking about
sustained winning,
decades of winning.
Fun fact: A&T is on pace to have more championships this decade than the previous one.
Right. Okay.
Already, right? And we're in the CAA at this point. We're gonna be in the CAA for the bulk of the decade, so we're already on pace to have as many championships that we did in the previous decade.
But
now we're going to celebrate all the time.
There are programs that have had long periods of win. I'm not talking about that 1 or 2 years. I'm talking like you owned a decade, and not just one decade, but you had a couple of decades from a couple of different generations. I mean, look, we got generations now. We have generations of people who have experienced winning decades, right? 20-year periods of winning. So when we get an 8-year low, we get agitated because we're like, man, what is this losing that we're doing? I can't handle this. We won when I was on the yard, and we won when my granddaddy was on the yard. I mean, what the hell is this losing that we're doing in this little 4 or 5 year period? People get angst about that. So I am saying that there is a small pocket, but overall, Dave, I don't.
There's a few I can name, but I'm not going to name them. There's a few that probably should make the move down. They probably should make the move down before NIL, and that's not, and I know y'all think I'm just picking on fucking. That's I got some EX schools on the list too. I got a couple on the list too. I do. So, but it's I think this kind of forces the decision, and it's unfortunate it's going to force the decision, right? Because I don't think this is a space where you can kind of just try to wing this and wait this one out. I think this is going to require some planning. I think this is going to require some legitimate mirror watching at this point, because you're going to have to decide what you're going to do with this. I think A&T's urgency is a little bit more serious because they want to win championships in this conference that they're in. They're very serious about winning championships. Now that they're finally starting to win them in the CAA, they want to continue to win them after that. And I think the point that they were trying to put across in that meeting was that football is important, basketball is important, but we win championships everywhere. And to do that, we're going to have to invest everywhere. And that's just the reality of it.
I applaud North Carolina A&T for making the steps. To take the steps.
To make sure we just don't fall off the ledge. I just think it's going to boil down to that the alumni base. We're all got to step up. Like it's not just us that give normally. I think
I will say this though, as much as we are asking alumni, at some point, whether it be in our case, whether it be our BOT, or we're going to have to find the unique donor, and even if the unique donor doesn't look like us, somebody that's going to do more than what the average alums are doing. Like the average alums are giving.
I do think, and one thing that we do benefit of having is that we do have an alumnus that is a pretty big donor in our group, and I'm pretty sure FAMU does as well, right? But we also have somebody that also pushes the fundraising aspect. Like he did the capital campaign for the university that got us up to $200 million endowment. Like he started that ball to get us to break the 100 million point. When Chancellor Martin showed up, our endowment was only like $20 million. So we have the guard with regards to that when it comes to that. And he was there. His nickname is Dollar Bill. So like his job is to push to try to get more money out of the alumni base. And the chancellor was at this meeting as well. So he understands the importance of athletics and if we want to go in this space, because he wants to win just as much as everybody else does. So he's very serious about this. And even our big donor made the chancellor and the AD accountable, saying you better make sure you staff these people so they can do their job in the athletics department, so they can actually go and fundraise and get this money. Because I know it's going to require corporate sponsorships too, but you also got to be able to do some outreach from the alumni base. And we have to get, and folks don't want to hear this piece, but it's true. We have to get younger. And who gives? We have to get younger.
Yeah, but the problem with getting younger, though, you know that you don't really, when you're in your,
I'm not saying 20s, because
under 35. Look, when you're under 35, I don't know if you really have garnered or gathered enough income.
I'm not asking a 25 or a 35-year-old to give like $2,000 a year. I'm asking them to give $100.
Okay.
It's about creating the habit.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think what happens is that if you don't create the habit, then you're not getting anything. And now you have these big donors and the ones who do give that are in the retirement bracket. And then if you ain't got the ball rolling for the younger base, your donations are gonna fall pretty heavy. Like you gotta build the habit. Like I built the habit. Like I give back. I've been giving back for almost over a decade now. Like you have to build the habit.
Right. Well, that probably requires somebody of a similar age to be able to get that message across to them. Somebody who speaks, I don't want to say their language, but somebody who's from that age group. You know, I think whoever your powerful alums are probably have a 4 to 5 year gap in front and behind them, because you probably got 4 to 5 years of people that you may know of or know that when you were a young person on the yard. And then at the end, you probably got 4 to 5 years after you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your window. I don't want you know what I'm saying? If you were trying to get out and connect, so if you're 30 years old, that means you got a window of 35 to 25-year-olds that you should be trying to connect with. And among that group, how many of them can you get to, like you said, give that $100?
The theory is we can get 5. If we can get like 5 folks, if every person that was in the room that went to that Zoom meeting can get 5 folks, we could probably hit our goal in a couple weeks. And we can correct our goal by the end of the year, easily.
Right.
Like, because it's not going to be hard to find 5 folks who don't give that that are alumnus, that are alumni. It's not. It will not be.
What is I see a lot of people talking about the corporate sponsors. I know that's something that we talk about. Also, the city involvement. What's your take on where corporate and city involvement, how much should athletics rely or lean on corporate versus city involvement when it comes to athletic funding, or even as you get to this NIL space? I mean, and again, NIL being separate from what your athletic department needs to operate.
Well, I can keep it simple. A&T has the largest event in the city of Greensboro every single year. The largest event. There's no event larger. And even when the ACC tournament was in town, it was either
Bigger?
one or two.
G-Ho was bigger than the.
It was either one or two.
Wow.
Like it's a whole week, man. It's a whole week affair. Like they do a carnival on campus now during G-Ho week.
Oh wow!
Like it's a 1 week affair. Over 120,000 people was on that yard on G-Ho Day. Like I'll never forget. Like last year, when I was leaving the hotel, they were talking about how like they had like a church convention happening. That were like when we were leaving, and there was a church convention happening, and they were like, "Yeah, this is the largest event that we have," and it's not even like A&T's homecoming is the largest event we have, and it's not even close. It's not even close. So, you that alone should get you some level of assistance. Is the best way I put it, because of what we bring to that city every year. Besides the fact that when we have other events that are big, like Aggie Eagles big when it's in Greensboro. G-Ho's big when it comes to Greensboro. So it's not, I think that A&T is like an economic generator for that city across the campus. And I know that other school down the street, UNC Greensboro's there. They're not building it. They're not bringing in the same dollars that we're bringing in to that city. I know that, and it pride hurts them for that, because I know they wish that they did, but they don't. It's just the reality of it. So,
all right. Fascinating conversation.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Jeff Roberts is on a nail on the head. We have to give as much as the students give.
And you said the students give right now what, $870?
$870 a year. I mean, that's the reality of it. Like, we can't keep, and the thing is, before Martin One left, he talked about the fact that we can't keep depending on the students to pay for our athletics. We cannot. We cannot. We can't. And now with NIL, you can't expect them to invest, to put more money in a pot to pay for other students. That ain't gonna fly. That's just my opinion on the matter. I don't think that's gonna fly.
Want to get, before we close out the show, want to just spotlight a couple of things happening during the upcoming week.
I'm trying to understand this question here.
He says a BF demographic. I don't know. Is he talking about?
What do you mean BF? That's what I'm trying to understand what the BF is.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Help me out, EA.
Was that a typo, EA? Is that a typo?
Yeah, help me out, EA, because I'm curious about what this question is.
I think I know what he's saying, but it depends on the typo, if there is a typo. Let me make quick mention. The SWAT Golf Championship is coming up this weekend. Actually, no, excuse me, tomorrow. Tomorrow through the 16th at Robert Trent Golf Trail in Birmingham, Alabama. UAPB is the
host.
The babyface demographic. The UAPB, I think UAPB is the two-time defending champs. So I know that's happening this week. Of course, watch out. I think the Rattlers might give UAPB a run.
Okay.
Just a thought. Oh, black folks. Oh, okay. Black family. I love this. Great. I'm going to go black folks.
Oh, yeah. When you talk demographic, black folks do fit.
Yeah. Show me any athletic program, amateur, professional, that the majority support comes from a black demographic.
I don't know if not the majority, but man, we support a lot of sports, man. I mean, we like. I think when folks thought that Georgetown was the HBCU, we supported the heck out of that program. When John Thompson was running it. John Thompson was running that basketball.
Wait a minute. We supported it, through merchandise purchase?
Probably. And watched it. That counts too. Like ratings count too.
Well,
You don't
I mean,
get those.
do we know? I don't know. Did Nike benefit from that, or did Georgetown? I don't know. Did Georgetown really benefit? Georgetown may have benefited from the brand, but
then also the viewership. Like the viewership's important too.
But Nike profited, not Georgetown. I'm willing to bet Nike profited more than Georgetown.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, when I think about like, we support sports, it's just the way we do it, right? Like we'll support our NFL teams, we'll throw the jersey on, but not nearly as much as the others.
Well, again, I go back to.
But here's the thing about corporate support, and I had a back and forth with somebody about this on Twitter. The thing about corporate support, the first step to corporate support is you got to show that your base cares too. And it's not just about going to the games. It's about giving. Because a lot of times when you try to get corporate support to give, to do things of that sort, they typically ask, like, well, how much does your base give? How much does your alumni give? And like, you out here talking about 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. That ain't gonna cut it. They ain't gonna convince somebody to invest. And when you think about how big A&T's brand is right now, you would think, oh yeah, we should be able to get some corporate sponsorship, but I think we got to get that alumni number up, man. I really do. Black female is what they were talking about. Black female.
Well, in that case, if you're referring to colleges, because that is the largest populated group at colleges.
That's and the thing is, with that continually to grow, and the black male isn't going to colleges often.
Yeah,
that is going to be a challenge, because it's funny, like when I posted my daughter making a decision to go to Hofstra, one of my buddies from South Carolina was like, she went to a CAA school. And I was like, well, it was down to 2 of them anyway. But then I also said, but just so you know, she ain't really into sports like that. Like and the truth be told, if she's going to go to like a sporting event, it won't be basketball or football. It might be women's basketball, but she ain't going to be going to a men's basketball game or a football game. But Hofstra don't have a football team anyway. They decided to cancel their football program to start their medicine school. So I learned that while I was on the tour for Hofstra. So I feel you. Yeah, I get where you're at. I feel you completely. That is going to be a tremendous challenge. Because it goes back to, it's got to be more than the game to convince the students to go to the game. Like even in our spring game this year, we had a DJ battle. The winner was going to get the DJ at the school at a home game. Like we had a DJ battle. We were giving like $5,000 for something like a field goal. Like they did those type of activities too to try to get more folks in the game. And I heard it was pretty packed at the spring game this year.
I just look, I thought what you mark my words, Dave, what St. Francis University
somebody gonna do it, man. And from the HBCU space. And I think once that happens, then folks will look and be like, oh.
It was a look in the mirror and it was reality. It's the reason why, and this is my last point on this. The Ivy League has stayed pat on who they are, right? They said we are about academics. Mm-hmm. We haven't moved to giving scholarships out. Yes, they're starting to participate in championship events
in football.
Right? Football.
Right? That's the only one they didn't really participate in, really.
Right. But even you watch, what do they do? Are they doing anything in NIL spaces at the Ivy Leagues?
If the Ivy League decides to go in NIL space, this is over, ladies and gentlemen. I just want y'all to know that. If they ever decide to say, yeah, we about to go start paying these players to go in this sport to play football.
Wait a minute. I don't know about that, because they still have high academic standards that you have to meet.
I know that. But then they're
not going to lower their academic standards to let.
And that's part of the reason why they'll probably never go to NIL, because if you do that, you're going to probably have to.
It's an admission, right? It's an admission of the whole. Look, no one wants to say it's pay to play, but really that's what it is.
It is.
You just talked about, if you can't have an NIL salary structure, whether it be in your head or on paper, then you're doing it wrong, because you cannot go out and get an NIL budget and not have a realistic conversation, unless you're going to say, which some schools are. They're saying we're just paying everybody the same fee right off the bat, which, okay, that I respect that. Every student athlete, regardless of sport, gender, you're all getting the same amount of money. Now, if you want to go out and get your own extra deals, that's on you because you can do that. But as it relates to what the school is going to do, the school is saying we're going to give everybody the same market of money because if we're opting in, and they say that we have the ability to, that's what we're going to do. We're not going to get into negotiating. So whether you're a bench player or whether you're a starter, you're all getting the same amount of money per sport, and you do whatever extra you want to do out on your own. But
well, that was what NIL was for. That was the original premise in the first place, right?
Yes.
But right. we knew why you had to have NIL. Because they don't want these guys to be employees of these schools. Like they don't want. That's what it boils down to. They're like, oh, we'll let you guys get money now, but we just don't want to pay y'all. Y'all go get your own money.
Yeah.
And so now the bag man could come out locally and be like, hey, I'm the bag man. I can give you what you want.
A whole bunch of 1099. Look, we're in a world of a whole bunch of Uber and Lyft drivers anyway. You're all 1099 employees, so then go file your own taxes. Here's your 1099. Yeah. Be your own independent person. And I don't even know why we're debating everything after that. So, is what it is.
Yeah. Flag football. Shout out to Winston out here winning flag football.
I saw that. Look, I didn't know. I saw that post today.
It was me. I'm supposed to do one of those too. A flag football
next year, I think.
Yeah.
Another story that I saw. Hold on, if I saw, I'm looking here, and I thought it was the young lady from Morgan Price.
Oh yeah, back to back national champion.
Yeah, the Women's Collegiate Gymnastics National Invitational Championships on Friday night. She was the defending all-around champion, and she won the all-around title for the second consecutive year. She's a junior at Fisk. So, congratulations to Morgan Price on winning that. She did qualify for all 4 individual event finals with top 8 finishes. So I think that was happening today. But so shout out to Stephen Gaither, HBCU Game Day, posting that article and story. I also
Aggies won another cheerleading championship.
Okay, thank you. I know I know that happened as well. Yep,
yeah, back to back for them.
Back to back. Also, big baseball series happening this upcoming week. This weekend in the SWAC. Looking at the baseball standings as they are right now, Florida A&M is in first. This is the halfway point of the season. Through 15 games, FAMU sitting in first, 14-1. Bethune-Cookman sitting in second with a record of 13-2. The two will battle this weekend. The only time that they will meet this weekend, beginning Thursday through Saturday, in Sanford, Florida, at the historic Jackie Robinson. It's not the Jackie. Well, I don't know. It might be. It's the ballpark that Jackie Robinson played in the minor leagues when he was with. Of course, the ballpark in Daytona Beach, I think, is named after Jackie Robinson. But this is the ballpark in Sanford, Florida, Sanford is right outside of Orlando, Florida, just north. So actually, I'm excited, Dave, because I'll actually get a chance to go to that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But hopefully that'll be a good event, and it'll be some good baseball. Battle for first place in the SWAC coming up this weekend. How the Aggies baseball team doing? I saw them get a couple of another.
Yeah, they won
in the CAA.
Yeah, they won. They won 2 out of the 3 against Monmouth. Right now they're tied for second in the conference now.
Okay.
But currently they're 7-5 in conference. Northeastern's got a 3-game lead, and they're tied with Charleston, and A&T's tied with Charleston, William and Mary, and William and Mary at 7-5. So, and we got a big series coming up against Delaware coming up. We got to play High Point first before we do our 3-game series with Delaware. In Delaware, I'm hoping to get up there. I'm hoping to go to the game the series when they play Northeastern. We're gonna see. Who knows where that quarterbacks going, man. He out here dropping the bag.
Sounds like Auntie's looking. I mean, can y'all take?
Yeah, we can't afford him, man. If he out here saying no to $2.4 million, we can't afford that, man.
Y'all can't foot that bill. I don't know.
Well, he might not have a bill to go to the way it's looking.
Yeah, well, I applaud Tennessee for kind of saying, bye-bye. If you want to go, bye.
But what has that taught us, right? On the Power 5 level, that is more of a – on the Power 5 level, that's pretty much pro at this point, right? Like, this man held out. He straight up held out. Said, look, I want $4 million. You only paying me 2.4. I'm holding out. I ain't showing up.
Hey, Dave, let me tell you a little something. That's happening at our level, too.
I know.
It's not as if you really look.
It's not the same numbers. It's not the same numbers.
No,
but I know it's happening. Yes. Well, I mean, we just had a guy at A&T that hopped into the portal, and I'm thinking, oh, he did really well to close out the season, so we should be able to. I expect him to be like at a higher level. He ended up going to another school within the conference. And then of course somebody posted, said, hey, this is what happens. This shows you proof that you can get a 6-figure deal in mid-majors. So it's arrived, man. It's arrived.
Pay attention to the transfer portal news on Wednesday. Football portal opens, and you are going to see some names in the portal. And don't be at all shocked, because spring games just finished. Guys going to know whether they are or aren't. And so that's just the nature of the beast. And so trust me, these 2 days that are happening, I don't know if there's a tampering window that can happen right now. But
there's always a tampering window. What are you talking about? There's always a tampering window. Everybody's talking to everybody.
Somebody's talking to somebody right now.
Oh, my goodness, man. There's always a tampering window. There's been tampering before the portal.
Before the portal.
Before the portal, it was tampering.
Yeah. All right. What are you looking forward to this week, Dave? One final word. What are you looking forward to this week before we close out the show?
This is a weird week. I'm pretty sure we're going to have another track meet this weekend. I haven't checked the schedule for A&T, but I've been paying a little bit more attention to the track roster. The Florida relays, the men won the 4x400 in the Florida relays, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping to fly down in a couple weeks down to Aggie Land because we're hosting the CAA championships in the outdoor track.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm hoping I'm gonna take a trip down there for that. So I mean, track's gonna be my focus for now, because like I can't and I cover NFL, so like the NFL draft's next week. So I'm gonna be in super draft mode for like the next couple of days. Like I just found out I gotta do PNP by myself this Tuesday. So I'm probably gonna be doing draft prep and getting ready, because we typically do a marathon. We do a 3-day marathon show.
Over or under the number of HBCU players drafted? Over or under 1.5?
Under. I think we might have one. Wouldn't be shocked if there won't be any. We might have one. Just one.
Will either Travis or Shador have anything listed saying that they went to Jackson State on their bio?
I think they will.
Okay.
I don't think they'll be listed, but I think they're going to mention the fact that they went there. I mean, the fact that Travis Hunter won the Heisman, I think they will. I do.
I hate to say it, but I've learned I would probably be right there with you and take the under 1.5 to on the number of HBCU players. I hope I'm wrong. I always like to say this. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope I am too, but I think that's more. It's not just an HBCU challenge. It's more of an FCS challenge, because I think nowadays the NFL says, all right, we'll bring these guys in as undrafted free agents, and they break away and they get on the team. Somebody like a Ricky Lee. And the kid that played for Fort Valley State that made the roster for the Packers, like those guys, those are the type of guys that are going to probably just get that opportunity from that regard.
All right.
That's been the trend, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So that'll be coming up. The draft is really next weekend, or
I think so. Yeah.
Friday. Is it Friday?
Not this Friday, but next Friday.
Oh, okay. So we're still a week away.
Yeah, we're a week away.
We got okay.
April 24th through the 26th.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because now they got the Thursday night was the first round, and then Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So a week from Thursday is what you're saying.
Yeah, a week from Thursday.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we're like everybody's like I cover the Panthers, so everybody's over here trying to figure out what we're gonna do at 8. It's not that hard at all. Not that hard at all.
What do you say?
We're taking an edge rusher, man. Okay. We're gonna take an edge linebacker hybrid. Like we're not. We had the worst defense in NFL history. We gave up more points than any other team in NFL history last year. If we don't take somebody defensively, it's egregious. I know they want Bryce to have weapons, but we'll get them weapons later. We got to get some. We got to get a stud. We got to get a stud up front badly.
All right.
What y'all gonna do?
Tight end.
You're going out to Warren.
Is that the kid from Michigan?
I
would rather have the kid from Penn State personally, but I don't know.
Penn State's the kid. Yeah, Penn State. Yeah, Tyler Warren went to Penn State.
Okay. I keep seeing people talk about the kid from Michigan, but I'd rather have the kid from Penn State. I saw him do what he does, and it was like, yikes.
It's going to be fascinating. I think the key for the draft this year is about how far does Shedeur fall? And I think at this point, I don't think he's going to get past 9 at this point after what the news of Derek Carr.
Oh, the Saints
Mm-hmm.
are at 8 or 9.
Yeah. So I think, and it's a good spot for the Panthers because now they could probably discuss trading out of the pick, which I think that's what they want to do anyway. Because now 8 becomes more valuable now because now you got to get in front of the Saints, and there's no way you can convince me the Saints are not going to take him at this point with the news of Derek Carr. There's no way.
Okay, see, I've been focused. What happened with David Carr?
Shoulder injury. Out for the year.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
Don't tell me he was out jet skiing or worse.
I don't know what he was doing, but I just know the report came out earlier this week. And I said as soon as I saw the report, I was like, well, I guess the 8th pick has now gotten more valuable. If you really want a quarterback.
I need to see if the line moved on where Shedeur might go. I got to go check that out.
Before that injury, I felt like Shedeur was going to probably fall into the 20s. Because I don't think. Yeah, so A&T is hosting Aggie Invitational this weekend. They're hosting their own track meet this weekend. So I don't think I thought he was going to fall because I think part of it was because of the fact that if he didn't get if Cleveland or the Giants didn't take him, the fall was going to start. And I didn't know, and I didn't think the Saints was going to do it, but now with the Derek Carr news, I think the Saints are going to have to do it. They ain't going to have much of a choice in the matter, whether it's him or Dart. But I think if Dart goes off the board before Shedeur, that would be egregious. To say the least. Yeah. Shedeur is the second best quarterback in the draft. I just don't think the quarterback class is that strong, but Shedeur is the second best quarterback in this class. Okay. I believe that. I think he's the second best quarterback in class. He's by far the toughest one with the offensive lines he had to deal with. So if he does go to a bad team, he can take a beating.
I've seen enough. I'm sold on Shedeur being a good quarterback. I'm not doubting it, but trying to judge what these GMs are going to do is the coin toss crapshoot.
It's always fascinating when you have the black quarterback, right? Because you always try to throw the stereotypical things about the black quarterback. But the thing about Shedeur is that a lot of those stereotypes don't really hit with him. So, because he's probably closer to Tom Brady than he is to Lamar Jackson.
That's the comp that I've seen that I always get a chuckle out of. I'm like, wait, y'all are really going to compare him to Tom Brady? Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm saying when you talk about close, like if you think about a prototype, he's closer to Tom Brady than he is to Lamar Jackson.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So to do the typical black quarterback stereotypes that you normally do, you kind of can't do that with him.
No,
I mean, it boils down to who his dad is and how you feel about having him on your roster. So it'll be fascinating to see where he ends up.
Mm-hmm. All right. Dave, I appreciate you coming in and sharing some knowledge with us today and spending some time with me during today's show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Dave, let people know where else are you going to be, because we know you're always you're in a few other spaces and places during the course of the week. Where are you going to be the rest of the week?
All right, so tonight I'm probably going to hop on Josh for HBCU Nightly. I also do the Indie Report on Wednesdays on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I have my own podcast with my partner Rashad. We cover the Panthers, called Panther Nation Podcast, PNP. We go live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and all that. And I think I mentioned MD on Thursday, and then MD on Thursday night, where I pretty much have fun. We go over HBCU topics, life topics. We just do everything. It's probably the rawest show I got for the week. So,
all right, make sure you're following Dave right there on X. You see the handle. Make sure you go check out the shows where he's at, and we appreciate all of you guys for watching. Please hit the thumbs up and the like button if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. It's certainly appreciated. It helps out the algorithm. And go check out the shows that appear on the Black College Sports Network in podcast form on the BCSN Pod Zone. That's on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just go and search BCSN Pod Zone. All right. So appreciate it. We're not sure whether we're going to have a show next Sunday. I know next Sunday is Easter Sunday, but it's evening time. I don't know if anybody's still really doing anything late at night. So if we do have a show, I've already started working on a couple guests. I'm not sure whether it'll be Drew with me or not. We're kind of wait till midweek before we release that information. But if we don't see you next Sunday, I want to wish you and your family a happy and blessed Resurrection Day. And enjoy this week. Take some time to reflect and give thanks for what this week is meant for, and what what Friday and Sunday mean for those of you who are Christians and believers. Celebrate and rejoice and give thanks to God for this moment. So for AD Drew, who's not here, and David L. Rhodes, who you will see whether it be tonight or later this week, I'm Brian Fulford, and thank you for watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. And if we don't see you next Sunday, we'll see you the following Sunday right here at My BCSN1 is where you can find us on all of the platforms that you see. Take care, everybody. Peace out.